Hello everyone, and welcome to this broadcast on YouTube from IMC, 7 a.m. in the morning we call it, YouTube. And this week I'm away teaching an eco-chaplaincy retreat, and so could not be here this week, and the other teachers, a substitute for me, are also not available. So we're doing a replay, a rerun of the third week in the Samadhi series that is a precursor for this series we're doing now on insight. And it might be nice to go back to near the beginning of Samadhi, at the basics of practicing with breathing, as a reminder that we always want to come back to the beginning and get established and not be in a hurry to have insight. And so I hope you enjoy a repeat of this week. Those of you who heard it before, those of you who are new to this section on insight, it might be nice also to come back to kind of more foundational beginning to create a better context for these teachings on insight. And I'll be back on July 28th, so next week, and I hope you enjoy these days returning to the beginning of Samadhi. Thank you. So hello and good Monday to all of you. Hello to this beginning of the week. And there is an art in Dharma practice to appreciate beginnings. To appreciate that in some way every moment is a beginning. That every moment we come to a fork where we can choose a healthy, wholesome, good way of being present that supports us, that nourishes us. Or we can maybe go down another fork where we get denourished. So here we are in beginnings. Every moment is an ending and a beginning. And the glory of Dharma practice is to really appreciate the newness of these beginnings. And there's a wonderful art, a wonderful way of, at least in meditation, to put aside the past. You don't have to forget it forever. Put aside the future. There's lots of time in the future to think about the future. To be here and allow every moment to be a new beginning where we step into it with attention, with awareness. And with Samadhi practice, that stepping into this moment over and over again, to this newness of now, is stepping into or being to a simplicity of being. Sometimes I think the definition of Samadhi, I have different definitions that I like to play with. And I'll probably offer different ones as we go along here. But the one that I would like to emphasize today is Samadhi is simplicity. A radical simplicity, simple way of being with one thing. And what we're going to be with here, what I recommend, is the experience of breathing. And to enter into that experience of breathing, so we are simply aware of breathing. We're simply becoming breathing. We're simply giving ourselves over, giving attention over to experience breathing fully. But the language we use, like awareness, being aware of it fully, concentrating on the breath. It's all too easy for that to engage a tension or a tightness in the focus. The kind of getting serious and buckling down. The simplicity of Samadhi without tension. Just here in a simple way. So I'll offer a few things today for practicing with breathing. But one of the key practices, techniques that supports a simplicity of being with something, simplicity of being with the breath, is counting the breath. It's an ancient concentration technique. And I'd like to offer that. There's different ways of doing it. And the idea is to keep this very simple. And I recommend that for today, you count the breathings from somewhere up to 1 or up to 3. And if you lose count, just start again at 1. And sometimes just counting up to 1 is enough, and then do it again and again. The count is at this point less important than how the count gives your thinking mind something very simple to do that's directed towards the experience of breathing. And so the thinking mind is engaged in this process of being simply with the breathing. And being simply with the breathing, kind of bringing together our experience so we can, over time, experience the different aspects of breathing, all in the purpose of shepherding awareness into a simple, relaxed, attending to this moment here with the breathing. And they can become very pleasant, pleasurable, very satisfying if we can become very simple with the breathing, with no pull to other things, no judgments about it or anything else, just breathing. So to count, one way to do this is on the inhale, count 1, and on the exhale, count 2. Inhale 3, and then let the exhale go without a count. Just follow it peacefully, and then begin again. 1, 2, 3. There's many ways of counting. If you prefer, just do 1 on the inhale, 1 on the exhale, just over and over again, that's okay. And the idea is for the count to be very gentle. It's just like a 2% of what the attention is doing. Very light, kind of the lightest possible count. And then don't do the checklist, checking it off kind of approach. 1, and then you're done, your job. But rather, see in your silent thinking mind, you can say the word 1 or the number kind of through the length of the inhale, and 2 through the length of the exhale. So it would be 1. Or it might say the count a couple of times gently, softly. 1, 1, 1. However long the inhale is. And then 2, 2. So you're really there. So assuming meditation posture and gently closing your eyes and taking some gently but longer inhales and exhales as a way of familiarizing yourself to the body's experience of breathing. And then as you exhale, relaxing your body. As you exhale, relaxing the breath body, the part of the body that does the breathing. And letting the breathing return to normal. And for a few breaths, perhaps relaxing as you exhale, and gently putting the awareness on top of the physical experience of breathing, like you'd put a leaf on the top of a flowing creek, and then the leaf would gently flow down with the creek. So put the awareness on the flow of breathing, and with that very light touch of awareness, and flow along all the way to the end of the exhale, to that settling point deep in your body that you can touch at the end of exhaling. And then on the inhale, feeling how it arises from that settling point, supported by it, expanding through the body. Awareness is lifted by the rising tide of the water. And then gently, softly, to stay with the flow of in-breath and out-breath. Let there be a soft count that keeps you there, floating on the breath. So you're not fixating attention, straining attention. It's almost like peripheral awareness is resting on the experience of breathing. And the count helps you to settle, helps you to be simple, helps you let go of your thoughts. Counting the inhales and exhales. And if you lose count, without any commentary, judgment, start again. With each count, being like a dial that quiets the mind, quiets the thinking mind in favor of a simple, soft attention resting on inhale and exhale. And as we come to the end of this sitting, to see if you can find in your mind the quietest whispery place to have thoughts. As if you're in a very quiet location and you're whispering to someone, whispering to yourself. Here in this body and mind, with care, with love. Here in this body and mind, with care and kindness. Here in this body and mind, with appreciation and joy. And here in this world, with care and love for the world. Here in this world, with care and kindness for others. Here in this world, with appreciation and joy for others. And may it be that what radiates from us, what spreads from us, may it be that our contribution, maybe our small contribution to this world, is a spreading of goodwill out from us. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free. And may that be what we contribute to this world today. May we benefit the world through living today. Thank you. So welcome to this 11th talk on Samadhi. And The main point I'd like to make is that there's almost an equivalence with samadhi and simplicity. Samadhi is simplicity. And and one of the things that we can do when we practice samadhi is to notice how we are not simple. And that's important, very important to see. The complexity in which we live. How we get pulled into thoughts and feelings, ideas, plans. And appreciate that this is what the mind does. It's not a crime. And there's a homecoming that we can do. There's a way in which too much thought keeps us alienated, keeps us separate from ourselves, unless we think who we are is our thinking. But we are so much more than that, something deeper. And so homecoming into this simplicity. And the more simple we can be with the breathing, the more there's something marvelous that can begin to appear. And part of that marvelousness is that it can feel very settled, very sweet, very simple, just to be alive here with the breathing. And it's almost like we're entering into a deep place of home so that we can turn ourselves inside out to allow some deep capacity for peace and settledness to animate how we live our life. So there's many ways in which people develop samadhi, but one of the ancient techniques is counting the breath. And the breath isn't suitable as an object for everybody, so there are other ways of developing samadhi. And in our tradition, one of the common alternative suggestion is to develop samadhi with saying the phrases of loving kindness. And just to find a way of saying that that's settling, that's simplifying, that gets us absorbed in the activity of offering goodwill. But the reference point I'll be doing is breathing, counting the breath. And that'll also be the focus for this week. And and you can certainly stop counting if you don't want to, but if you've never done much counting, or even if you have, there's something to be learned about spending a week doing it that might be invaluable. Not a few people, certainly me, have thought I was getting settled and concentrated, but really I was drifting off in thought. And it was only when, in a very pleasant way perhaps, it was only when I started to count that I saw, oh, I'm more involved in my thoughts. I didn't realize how strong the pull of thoughts were. And because I only got to the count of one, or half a count, or there have been times where I've intended to count and never got around to it because the thinking mind was so strong. And so if you can get to 10, then that's pretty good. If you can't get to 10, if you get to 1 only, and then you get pulled into thought, then you know thinking is really strong. If you get to 7, then maybe the thinking mind is not that strong, and that's kind of nice to know. So you get to see what's going on with you. The counting is also a way of including the thinking mind in the gathering, the unification, the bringing together of all of who we are into the simplicity of this moment with the breathing. And so rather than having a thinking mind be idle, an idle mind gets in trouble, rather than the idle to think whatever it wants, you're actually giving the thinking mind something to do that is supportive of the effort being done. And sometimes the thinking mind is really happy to have a task, happy to be included, happy to be supportive of something that is so incredibly profound and useful as developing samadhi. It has a purpose, it has a meaning for the thinking mind. And sometimes that's what it wants. And if you don't give it, then it goes off and looks for something else. And so to offer the thinking mind the simple thing to do that might just involve one syllable, the count of 1, 2, 3. And when I was taught doing this, I was taught to count to 10 and then start over again. And or if you lost count, to start over again. And and the way I did it, how I understood it, was I only counted the exhale, and I filled the exhale with a count. I've since then learned that it can be valuable to count both the inhale and the exhale. And what I'm offering today is that to keep it really simple, and that is to count. You can choose to count somewhere between 1 and 3, and to count both the inhale and exhale. And I don't want to confuse you with too many options, but maybe you can land on one that just seems intuitively what's right for you, rather than kind of struggling around it. Some people find it helpful to give the same count for the inhale as the exhale. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. And then start, since I'm going to keep it really simple here today, start over again then at 1. Some people find it helpful to just count the inhale 1 and the exhale gets 2, and then 3. And when I've done this up to 3, counting both the inhale and exhale gets the part of the count. I find it really helpful to not count 4. But so breathe in 1, breathe out 2, breathe in 3, and then let it be quiet in the mind. Just ride the exhale in the quiet mind, and then start again. And one of the things that does, it stops the counting going on to automatic pilot. It also allows for some kind of quieter thing to stay there. So you're referencing quiet, settleness for how you're going to say the count. I've sometimes counted harshly and hard and staccato-like. The idea is to do it gently, softly, with just enough effort to count that you can, that it's just enough to have the mind make that thought. And sometimes what I've done to make it really light for myself is to imagine I'm counting. And and somehow this exercise of imagining I'm counting, it becomes almost like wispy or silent, or there's almost no effort going into it, no physical energy going into it, no strain, no pushing. It just kind of floats up. And then, but you don't want to make the count the primary thing you do. You want the primary thing to do is a kind of resting, settling, entering into the world of breathing. And the count is a little bit like a pointer, like a reminder, oh, stay there. And the focus is not as laser focus on the breathing. Sometimes I've thought of it, there's all these metaphors for it. And one metaphor that I've liked for myself is someone coming from behind, someone I trust and care for, and they gently put their hand on my back, just letting me know I'm there. And they're there with me, just a reminder, I'm here to support you. And so it's kind of that way we approach the body breathing, and just gently the count is here. I'm here with you. I'm supporting you. I'm being here with you. And so in doing so, the surface mind of a lot of agitated thoughts and concerns hopefully can understand it's okay, it's safe to become quiet. It's okay to, you don't have to quiet, you don't have to actively get rid of that thinking mind. But as the energy of attention goes into breathing, into counting, something begins to soften and relax in the body and the mind that that begins decreasing the tension or pressure that perpetuates agitated thinking. So that pressure quiets. So to count your breathing, and I'll talk more about it this week, but this was kind of an introduction to this topic. And so what I'd like to suggest this week, that if you're able to in your life, if you have the capacity and hopefully the interest, that meditate a second time today. You've done it now with us here. Do it again. So, and it can, maybe 20 minutes is enough. And in order to kind of continue the momentum of this kind of practice, I do talk a lot in the guided meditations because of trying to teach this here. And ideally, you then would practice it on your own so you can do this in silence and develop kind of a momentum behind it. So if you can manage to sit another 20 minutes each day, I think that'll support this amazing process of samadhi that we're going to go through slowly. So thank you very, very much. And may your ability to be simple and present and attentive, may it enable you to enter the world with goodwill. May this practice support the spreading of goodwill wherever you go. Thank you.